wanted to address something that one of my students brought up in class. He had recently returned from Japan with a family trip, and he attended I believe it was a ninja like facility. It was like more for like tourist type thing. And one of the things that they discussed was they talked about the idea of using a Daito katana or shinobi katana cutting. He talks about every time this person cut, you'd hear that swoosh of the sword. Now, one of the things that came up that I automatically addressed when he said that was I said, oh, and this is a common thing, the bohi, that groove that's cut along the sides of the blade to lighten up the blade a little bit, okay? You still get that strength, but you get a little bit, the blade's a little bit lighter, okay? Now, I brought out 4 of my blades, 2 made by the same person. I was gonna say manufacturer, by the same person, and then another one that I purchased, and then this is the one that my wife originally got me as a. This is the very first sword that my wife purchased for me as a gift, and this is the one where I swapped out the Suba. It originally had a Musashi type Suba. I didn't like it because it felt like another person could easily glance my blade and then drive right through the Suba and get my fingers. So I changed the Suba out. So this is the one with that 14-inch Suka. It's beautiful. Yeah. This would be like the type of blade you would see during the Sengoku period. Long, long blade, really nice. This is probably one of my larger ones. Okay. Now this one does not have a bohi, so I wanted to show what the difference is. Now here's the question. You'll see on 2 of my blades here. Actually, 3 of the blades. They all 3 have a bohi, but one of the blades, if you look at where the bohi extends to, makes a very big difference. Very big difference, and you'll hear it in the cut. Okay, I'm just gonna do some general cuts, just basic from Daijuro kind of thing, right? Or stone cutter, just kind of cutting down, and you'll hear it. You'll hear the difference. Okay, so I'm gonna do this one first. So no bohi. Okay, while this one I do use this to cut. You do not hear anything. That's what's weird about it. Okay, so you can see. Okay, as you can see, no bohi on this one. Okay, and this is a very, very good blade, but no bohi. But you'll see when you draw this type of blade how, yeah, it's nice. If I go for a vertical draw, for instance, here, okay, all right. So let's swing this back here, okay. So if I go to cut, you shouldn't hear anything. It'll be interesting, right? If I'm in Daijuro, nothing. Nothing. Another question came up as the address was the position of the hands. Let's move the hands up even further up to see what happens. We've seen in some people when they're doing tamashigiri that the hands are even all the way up here. When you see old drawings from the Sengoku period, you see the hands all the way up here when they're cutting sometimes, right? So we'll try that too, right? So we'll start back here. Again, don't hear anything. We'll move the hand up slightly. Here. Nothing. Let's move the hand up even closer. Here. Don't hear anything. Okay? One, this is really hard for me to do too because I'm not used to cutting, bringing my blade tip down here. I'm used to karatakawai, where if I cut, I would cut either to my waist or I would cut here. So that blade is the maximum distance between me and an attacker. Okay. But for this particular thing we're doing, I'm trying to cut lower. Okay. So here, nothing. Here, nothing. Okay. Again, no bohi. I do cut with this blade, but I'm just kidding. It does work very well. Okay. So as you can see, no sound will come from this. No sound. Okay. So let me go grab another one. This is another one I purchased, okay? This is another blade I purchased. I probably purchased this within the past year and a half, 2 years, okay? This does have a bohie. Very well made blade. Very good quality. Very nice. But, yeah. Really nice blade. Okay? Well, again, this one does have a bohie, okay? So I'm putting this in my outer obi for just for these purposes here, okay? So, we'll go to draw again, right? Here. Okay. So, as you can see, I don't know if you can see on there, there is a bohie, okay? What I want you to do is pay attention to where the bohie extends to. I don't know if you can see it, okay? Now watch what happens when I cut. This should technically make that sound. And we will try 2 different hand positions with this also, okay? So, put that on. Not hearing. Let's try the hand changing of the hand position. So we'll go higher up. Nothing. With a bohie. Okay? With a bohie. Okay? Notice that. It's kind of interesting. Okay? You don't get that sound. So next I'm going to grab the other 2. So we have a wakizashi and a daito. Okay? So I'll have both of those. Be right back. So normally if you saw samurai, this would be how they retire. You will have your fan, your wakizashi, and the katana, or a daito, okay? As a set, it is referred to as a daisho, okay? So, I have my fan on my inner obi of the wakizashi up against my body, in between the first fold of my obi inside my hakama, and then I have the daito on my outer obi. Okay, so this allows me to do things like kage no ito, that kind of thing. I can move freely around my lower back with this. It doesn't interfere with what I need to do. Okay, so with this, I want to show the wakizashi. Okay, look at this. Here you see, look at the thickness of the blade. This is the quality of this blade. Okay, I'm starting to understand it. Tell my students. It's the quality of the blade. That is why you'll get that sound. One thing I'd like to express is, look how far the bohie comes up to the tip. It does not stop here. It comes further up. It's a very sharp groove in there, okay? This bohie, okay? I put this away. Right. This blade. Again, bohie. Look how far up the blade comes, okay? Now, when I see blades in Japan, made in Japan, this is what I see. Look at the thickness of this blade as it goes all the way. Most swords made outside of Japan taper at the tip. You have a lot of girth here, and then tapers at the tip. Most swords I've seen in Japan, here's another thing. The blade here, the whole blade, is just as thick as Usuka. I don't know if you noticed that. On other swords that are not made in Japan, I noticed this portion here, all this in the blade, is slightly smaller. It's very interesting. It's very slightly smaller. It's very, very interesting. Listen, when I go to cut with the wakizashi, all right, I want you to listen to it when it cuts. There. Did you hear it? Right. Okay. You can hear it. You can hear the blade as it cuts. You can hear it as it cuts through. Now, let's move on to the die tool. Let's see what happens with that. Okay. All right. Okay. Listen. Do you hear it? You hear the blade, don't you? You can hear it as it cuts. You know, you may deflect their blade, strike to Sugetsu, okay, or right over their hands, or to Gorin. From here, it would just be a matter of here and cutting up. You can hear it, can't you? Okay. Notice I'm not doing like you see in Ido, trying to put the blade away here. I bring this up here. I bring my saya out away as I do this. So here, 1, 2, shift back there. Now, cut. Okay. I can come right back. Okay. Still getting used to the weight of this blade. So again, now drawing the blade here. I'm drawing the blade out here. So if I'm here, boom, boom. Notice, I'm not interfering with my wakizashi at all. Okay. Not interfering with it at all. But now, you know, like I said, with the bohi, basically a sword that's manufactured in Japan, actually manufactured in Japan, not in China, not in wherever, a sword made in Japan, that is it. So basically I would go on the, on the quality of the blade. Not to say this can't be made outside of Japan. For blades that we've seen that are made in Japan, you will hear that sound. You will hear that wisp of the blade as it goes by. Okay? If I go from Paso for Kesagi, okay? You hear it. You hear each cut. You hear each cut as it goes by. It makes a difference. Okay, so I think it's the quality of the blade. It is a skill set also, but it is the quality of the blade, and I would say that the sharpness of the bohi, how that bohi is cut into the blade on both sides. Is it a smooth cut into the side of the blade, or is it a hard edge in there? If it's a hard edge, you're gonna get that sound. If it's a smooth transition into the bohi, you won't get it as much. Yeah, that's about it. So. Thank you. Have a good night.